Hi guys, this is a celebration of all things organic. It is Organic Month for Soil Association and we love organic food at Wahaca. It's great for the planet, it's great for the soil and it's great for biodiversity. Why is biodiversity so important? It's not just because we love animals, but it's also because without the bees, without the worms, humankind, we're screwed. We need the worms to aerate the soil, we need the bees to pollinate the plants, otherwise growing food becomes really difficult. So organic is actually important. It's really important to regenerate the soil and look after our soil, which is being destroyed all the time. That's why it's important, and that is why at Wahaca we have so many organic vegetables on our menus, whether it's our garden veg taco or our lovely like new potatoes, which are in our chili croquetas and our quesadilla. So organic. I am going to highlight for you a really delicious dish that we've had on our menus at Wahaca for a long time. It's cornbread, and we serve it with a delectable chipotle honey butter, some whipped goat cheese. It's really easy to make, and it's also incredible with vanilla ice cream and cajeta, a kind of like, you know, dulce de leche, goat's milk, caramel, which we love. So this is the recipe. It's super easy. So first of all, I've got eggs, organic eggs, please. They taste better, they're better for you, they've got more nutrients, and it's all good. So I'm going to do 5 eggs. Can you see that? Can you see that at all? Can you see those yolks? They're just so good. Okay, so there's yolk. So we've got 5 eggs in there. I'm going to put those straight into my vitamins. This is corn from one kernel. They're right in season now. This is I got from a local farmer's market. It costs 50p each. I mean, it's such a good dinner. We're always eating kind of warm corn salads. So that is 1 kernel of corn in the bowl, and I've got another kernel which I'm going to add in a little bit. And then I've got buttermilk, 180 mils, 180 mils of milk, and it goes. And that is it. We're just going to whiz it up for a little bit. Hold on to your horses. So while that is all whizzed, I've got a bowl here and I've got some plain flour, and I just want to sieve it to aerate it. So I've got some plain flour and I've got some baking powder, and the recipe is down below, you can see it, so do click on it, but we're just aerating so we get a lovely light cornbread. So I've got my flour, I'm going to add this to the blender, we're just going to whiz everything up together. What I've forgotten to do is also melt my butter. Now this happens to be organic butter that I had in the fridge because I was at Nettlebed the other day, which is an amazing organic dairy, and that is their cultured butter, which I was really curious to try. And I'm just going to turn that on a high and melt that, because we're going to add the butter to the pan. So there we are, going to melt that. Also to this bowl I'm going to add polenta. It can be quick polenta, it can be slow polenta, but in that goes. And I'm going to add some sea salt. There we are, that's like 2 hefty pinches probably for what we're doing. And I'm going to add caster sugar. That's just, you know, 2 tablespoons. Actually that's about 2 tablespoons. Not very much at all, just to help bring out that flavour of the corn. So this is kind of optional, you don't have to put chilli in, but it actually adds a really lovely colour. We don't really need the seeds. And a lot of these chilies you get in the supermarkets aren't actually that spicy. So it really is about the colour more than anything. So there we are, that's my red chilli. I'm going to leave that whole. I'm going to shred the kernels off my corn as well. Just like put my knife down like that and just shave those kernels off. So I'm going to get my oven heated up to 170 degrees. But before I put this cornbread in, I'm just going to rest it for 20 minutes. And what that will do is it will stop the middle just going and rising really quickly, and it'll just keep a really nice uniform shape to your cornbread, which will make it much easier for cutting and serving. So we always toast ours on our flat tops when we serve it at Wahaca, and that's what you should do too, because it's just really nice hot. So I've got all my stuff in my bowl here, apart from the flour and the butter. So let's put the butter in first. There we are, in that goes. Now we're going to add all that lovely sifted flour. And it goes. You can see how easy this recipe is. Just need my lid, which is there. Pom pom pom. Put it right way round. And 5, 4, lovely mixture here. And now all we're going to do, I'm going to pour it back into here, just so there's that mixture. And we're just going to stir the rest of the corn. So that corn's going to go in there, the red chilli is going to go in there, and lastly, just a few coriander stalks. So I'm just adding this coriander into my mixture, stirring it up and putting it into that. And you can see it's just this lovely, vivid yellow, absolute sunshine on a plate. I'm just going to rest that, and 20 minutes later in the oven. Okay, so the cake is resting, the cornbread, the corn cake, whatever you want to call it. And I'm going to make now a kind of whipped goat's cheese. There are lots of great goat's cheese producers now. But we're going to cheat because I've just got some normal goat's cheese from the supermarket here. I'm going to season it with a pinch of salt, and I'm going to add some buttermilk, and it will just whip it together, and it gives it that lovely fresh taste that a proper goat's curd has, and it'll also just give it a lovely bit of volume. Then in the end you get a lovely, light, fluffy, kind of whipped goat's cheese consistency, which would be really lovely when we come to dress our cornbread. Now essentially I'm going to do the same sort of thing with our chipotle honey butter, which is going to taste smoky, sweet, salty, umami, all those incredible things. So I've got that butter that I was talking to you about before, the cultured butter, nettle bed, which is softened, because I'm going to beat it just like a kind of, you'd want to beat with a wooden spoon. So this is basically like a compound butter. So you can bash it all together, add your flavourings, shape it into a sausage roll, and then throw it into the freezer, and you've got a really sensational butter to just whip out and put it on your cornbread, I mean really on anything. It just tastes delicious. So I've whipped together my butter, and again, if you want to use a machine you can, it's quite satisfying doing it. And here I've got some chipotle. Now this is a smoked jalapeno. It's cooked down with onions and garlic and allspice and cinnamon. It's really delicious. In fact, this one that I make has also got some pasile Wahaca, which is a really incredible smoked chili from Wahaca. Thomasina Miers, they call it. It's got this amazing earthy, peppery flavours. So I've got quite a nice dollop of that because I want this to be quite spicy, this butter. We don't need very much of it, but I want it to be smoky, spicy, sweet, all that kind of thing. And I'm going to add a small teaspoon of honey to that, just for a little bit of sweetness. And we're going to add some sea salt in there, and a little bit of black pepper. And I'm going to beat it away, and then in the end season it with some lime juice, and we get this really, really delicious butter. So there is the butter. I'm just going to taste it. Oh, delicious. Add a little bit, gosh, that smoky kick from the chilies, and that lovely tiny bit of sweetness from the honey, a little bit more sea salt for seasoning, and that is going to be sensational. Now, let's put the cake in. It's been resting for 25 minutes. I'm going to put it in the oven, okay? So here it is. And you can see those incredible colours, lovely reds and greens. So my oven is on 172 degrees, fan assisted, and that is going to bake for about half an hour, okay? And look at this, it's absolutely amazing. So now, how you cut it is completely up to you. There's lots of different ways. I might go a bit shishi and do lovely triangles. First of all, I'm going to toast it, because cornbread is always more delicious toasted. So I'm just going to lift it off with my palette knife, pop it into my pan. Now this cake, fresh, is so, so delicious, but the toasting really brings out all the caramelization and the sugars, and it's just so wonderful. That is a really easy cornbread recipe. Not only that, you can have with vanilla ice cream and cajeta, and it's so, so sensational. This for breakfast, with or without fried egg, is what you want to eat.